You didn't see the countdown again? Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh no, the
Hi.
3, 2, 1. I saw
Yes,
that, but you didn't see it this time.
I did.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Re-
Okay.
Restream is getting its stuff together, which
No, it's not. Pissed me off the other day. No, you know what it is? You know what it is? Is like when I try to comment when I'm
uh-huh.
producing, like for yesterday, Adriana's live
Yes.
stream, my
Yes.
comments were not going up. And I'm like, son of a secret, I want to participate in some fun.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Well, you know what? Now that you mentioned it, Adriana Dawson, mi amiga, mi hermana, shout out to you. Amazing show. My gosh. Like they definitely keep it like 100, like
100.
no joke. I love it. Colin, shout out to you. And Randy, man, that story in your show yesterday was amazing. So I cannot wait to collab with you. Just gosh, like you produce so many amazing individual shows. Yeah. I just don't know. Like it's just a badass. It's amazing.
Aw. I don't again, as I was saying with the ladies backstage, I don't pay you enough apparently. So, but real quick, if anyone is interested, the Keeping It 100, the episode yesterday with Randy, I think Martinez
Martinez, yes.
at Pizza Hut. So he's
Yes.
chief equity officer, and he's amazing
Gosh,
story. You
yes.
will see it under Brilliant Bean Media on the YouTube channel, and
Mhm.
because they're taking a hiatus for the month of August, because apparently they're jet setting around the world without me or you here.
Europe and Jamaica. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, hello, TM. No, thanks for the invite, TFTI guys. But yeah, no, we're gonna rebroadcast. Oh my gosh, rebroadcast some of the earlier episodes to fill in the gaps for the week. But you guys
Mhm,
really check them out, because anyone that is early on in their careers or in their mid-level
mhm.
career, or they're actually looking to accelerate for executive leadership, they all apply in very real ways. I mean, great conversation. So
Yes,
check
yes, so
them
that
out.
was amazing, so that's why I wanted to give you a shout out, and, mi hermana, we love that Latina flavor, you always bring it to the table, and I admire you for that. You tell it like it is. But anyhow, so happy Saturday, yay! We are
Oof.
here once again. What a week it has been, madame, hasn't it? So
It
many things happening.
Highs and lows, baby. Highs and lows.
S
Highs are
I
high. Some of the lows are like little kickers in the poop butt.
Yes, yes, but you know what? On those lows, that's when you really know who you got next to you. And I know that, you've been such an imperative part of my life when I'm in my lows. And so I appreciate that. And I know Sia doesn't like compliments, so I won't put her on the spot. She cringes. She's like, "Ugh."
You see this? This is what my brain's doing. Yeah,
She's like,
good.
yeah,
Move
yeah.
on.
Okay, move on. Yes, yes. She doesn't like them, but it's okay. But she knows she's a baddie. So anyhow, yes, please let us know where you're tuning in from. I hope you guys are doing some marvelous things later on after the show. I know we have shows going on right now as well. So shout out to you, Dawn. Shout out to so many other live streamers as well who also have audio rooms, like our sister Constance Leland, Dr. Constance, Nicole and Guy Galindo, mi hermana también de Trinidad y Tobago. Yes, we're infusing Spanish today, y'all. So be ready. You're going to learn how to roll that R, right?
Yes. And you know what's funny? Like I know how to do it, but my sister's like, "Why do you sound so like you're so forceful?" I'm like, "Raquel." I'm like, "Cause it's just more fun that way." But
Well,
yes, 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 yes.
yeah.
But for those that are looking
Yes.
at understanding, like there's so much content up there on LinkedIn. We are
Yes.
part of a larger, broader community that we'll talk about in a second. But you can go to brilliantbeammedia.com/events, or just go to brilliantbeammedia.com and then click on events, and you'll see all the list of events up there. I promote everybody that is in the Hounds community, and it's almost like your own little free ticket master, if you will, where you just go, hey, what's going on today? What shows are playing today? So
Yep.
check it out, you guys.
Yep, it's a very organized list of events. So I definitely urge you to do that if you want to keep up with who's doing what on which day, because I'm telling you, I can't keep up anymore. So, but it's amazing. But anyhow, how about we run the intro before we get into the meat of it? I'm so excited, you guys, and I'll give shout outs as soon as we come back from that. So let's go ahead and do it, Miss Sia.
Let's do it.
Hey y'all, welcome to my corner. This is your girl Raquel, aka Raki. Step into our world of connections where I'm a proud Hounds of Business Pack leader, which is a community of entrepreneurs committed to sharing positivity, growing together, and never forgetting to inject some fun. Get to know amazing people in this safe space, so come and join me in my connection corner. And dance, and dance. And dance. Yes. Wait, yo, if y'all don't get your little dance kicks moves in the day, I'll make you do it. So you're gonna dance with me. You're gonna vibe with me. This is what it's about. We've had quite an eventful week. We're busy professionals. We all have our projects going on. You need to slow your roll for a little bit. And you need to have some fun. It is not a sin, y'all. You can indulge in whatever fun, whatever definition of fun that is for you. Indulge. It's not a sin. Oh, I like that mug. Look at that.
Girl, I
That's
always drink this mug.
I don't think that's the first time I see it. I
Girl,
wouldn't
I have a
remember.
rotation of like, because it's a big mug. It's always on rotation.
Yes. Yes. What you got in that cup today, Sia?
Just black coffee, my friend.
I see. I see. She's just strong, to the point, direct, as always. That's how Sia. But
Uh,
anyhow, you
it's
guys.
because you told me don't be late, lady, and I'm like, I will not be late. Okay, you sleep through one show, and then no one ever forgives you.
But this is what happens when you stay up so late working on projects, collaborative projects, like mutual things. Like it, we do get tired, y'all, but we do have these what do they call, like, just work parties, like we do online virtual parties. I don't even know what they're called, but we get things done. But we always inject fun in it because that's just, it helps pass the time, I think, in my opinion. But
Well,
anyways.
dude, I have to say, credit to you, girl, guys. If you don't know, we've literally had those like college, like study work parties, if you will, like at 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're not necessarily talking to each other, but we have to like every now and then ask each other a quick question. So while we're like working on something, we're playing little like club Ibiza music, in the background. And it's hilarious because it's not my jam, but suddenly we're like just not talking, but we're moving together. It's really fun. Anyway,
It really
yes,
is.
injecting fun with a lot of 1 a.m. work hours is makes it a little bit more
Yes.
palatable, huh?
Absolutely, it really does, and it's a different vibe, and you get things done. So that's what I appreciate. But anyhow, so Randy House, I saw you, my OG. Thank you so much for pulling up. I wanted to give a special shout out really quick to another one of my Latinas before we get to our sponsors. She sent me this. I love it, Adriana Rosales. Thank you so much. Since launching our book, for the legacy one, it's been amazing. So yes, she sent me this. This is amazing. I know. I don't know if I can read it, but it's basically a journal. And as I'm reading the others, I don't know if you can see it, but you can work through it. It's a daily planning, a weekly planner, and a budget sheet, which I need that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you, Adriana Rosales, for the amazing gift that you gave me. Besides, obviously, the legacy, the anthology that we created, it was just amazing. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Have you started digging through it yet? I know some people read it and they're like, "Oh my God, Raquel."
Are we not talking about this?
We can. Yes, Les. So, oh my gosh, this is amazing. 100 different individuals who really put their heart and soul to contributing to this edition that you see there. And if you haven't gotten it yet, do we still have the code? Here we go. I think we do. There we go. There we go. So if you still haven't received it or gotten it, oh Lord Jesus, let me take that the
I'm just,
sponsor stuff.
I was just gonna
There
say,
we go.
girl, you. My hands are full.
I see that. So if you haven't gotten your hands on a copy of that, please do. This is the code, and it takes you straight to it. You can get the Kindle version, or you can get, like me. I love tactiles. Like I love, actually getting the books and sitting with them and reading them. Does it smell new?
I love the smell of books.
I love it too. And but it goes really well with the talk that we're having today, which is really about the Latina community, right? Yes, it's about empowering leaders, but specifically we're focusing on my Latinos and Latinas, and this leaving a legacy and inspiring others to do. And this book, it's like a start, right? So I love it. So it's so cute. I love seeing you with that book, Sia. Okay, y'all. So before we get our guests to come up, I do want to thank the people who make this possible, our sponsors. And I know Sia had it up there, and I jumped the gun with this shout out. So, but
Yeah, it's
yeah,
all good.
so the first one is, of course, Janice Shokran with Tausi Brands. I have it right there, so you guys can see. Amazing, amazing the work that she's doing out there. My gosh, every week it seems like she's in a different show. She's a different, collaborating with a big individuals who are really trying to make a difference in this world. So if you don't know Janice Shokran and what Tausi brings, my gosh, check it out. I know you got the new logo. Yay!
Yeah, I know we got the new logo for you. And just to clarify, like, what the hell's a Tausi? It
Yes.
is a pillowcase. It is a patented pillowcase, but it is designed with a built-in lumbar and or neck support. It's a U-shaped design
Mm-hmm.
that gives you much more comfort. And for those that sits on there, you know what, all day long,
Mm-hmm.
you want to have that lumbar support and or neck support. So the pillows do come in two different form factors, and the usages are endless, right? Sitting on the beach reading, traveling in the air. Oh my gosh, how many times have we done the head bop, right?
Girl, yes.
And then of course laying in bed, and or of course the motivation and the inspiration for elder care and or for those that need additional care. The Tausies really are comfortable, amazing, and I highly recommend it. Cannot
Mm-hmm.
tell you enough, you guys.
Yes, even though the story behind it was inspired by her father, her elderly father. This pillow, I mean, the pillowcase can be used. Anyone can use it. It doesn't matter if you're old or young. Anybody can benefit from it. So it's amazing. It helps me with my posture. All right, so the next one is our one and only Mr. Mike Asherbrander. Man, I tell you, Mark was cracking me up when he was calling him Afterburner. I was like, what?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Mark Reed, host of Zen Sandwich. I love you.
Yes.
For someone that is like super Zen like, he comes up with some great stings, man.
Yes,
So
yes.
good.
I was like, so shout out to you. If you don't know who Mark Reed is, man, check him out. It's San Sandwich podcast. Amazing, amazing. Another individual who's part of our house, but he's in Japan, y'all. So he did the challenge with us this week, what we're going to talk about in a little bit. But yes, so check Mark out, and also check Mike Asherbanner out and his Hounds of Business. We have a huge community here, and I always say this, without Mike in my life, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I thank you for all that and all that you're doing in the community. And we continue pushing the front of actually just all the possibilities, right? So check him out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm just going to say Eastern Standard Time. That's all. I'm not even saying the other one.
I know, Eastern Daylight Time. I get it. I get it. I know.
Yeah,
But
it is so confusing. And who's next, Madame?
oh, I don't know. Brilliant Bean Media, which is my company. We are digital content strategists, consultants, production, and all things social media around your digital content. We make the message on social media resonate for your business. So if you'd like that growth, if you want to target on LinkedIn, we are the company for you. So always a happy, proud sponsor of you, Raquel. And
Yes,
we appreciate you. We love
forever
you like a love
grateful.
song, baby.
Oh, I love it when she says that Care Bear. What is it? Care Bear stare.
Care Bear Power Stare. If you
There
combine your inner lights, everyone, it becomes one more powerful beam. Brilliant
Sweet.
Beam Media. Coming at ya.
There you go. You have it. There you go. You need to do that into a commercial.
Coming
I
at ya.
love this. You see how creativity just flows like that, and it's on the spot, and she's so good at that. But anyhow, so our next one is Be My Blessing. My gosh, Michael Carr, thank you so much, and Tanya Everhart, like you guys are amazing with Be My Blessing and Brand Face. So both of those. I finished my second box of honey, y'all. Like I love honey so much, it's crazy. So I will be ordering another one. And for those of you who don't know what that is, man, check out the story about Magdala and why he created what he did. So the biggest thing about this and why I love it so much is all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds when you purchase one of the corporate boxes to gift goes to charity. So that is a sweet deal for me, and that sold me on it. So I encourage you guys to look into Be My Blessing and Michael Carr as well. And Brand Face is last one. Amazing, Tanya. Thank you so much. Responsible for the personal branding for my own and so many other individuals as well. I thank you so much for the opportunity. And man, like I'm just looking forward to just continue working with the amazing brand itself. So woohoo! Oh
Woo,
my gosh. Are we
girl.
ready? Are
I
we
think
ready?
we're very ready, my friend.
So we had such a spicy week, didn't we?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Right?
I forgot about. Oh yeah. Look at that. I'm so bad at this. You think I would like have my like together for you on this? All right. So this is an older graphic, but we do want to talk about what happened this past Thursday.
Oh my God. Well, let me tell you, my mouth, like it's watering already just to think about what we just went through on Thursday. It was so delicious, you guys. No joke. That last sauce, though, I must say, that was like whoo, atomic, like just yeah, blasted my taste buds. But the first four, I was like, yeah, I could eat this. And I have eaten some of them on since ever since Thursday. So if you missed our show, you can always check the replay out. We have it under, the YouTube channel, the Brilliant Being Media, and also on my profile channel. But anyway, Sia, what was your favorite sauce?
You know what? I really enjoyed all of them. I will have to say, I think it was is it the honey soy, the middle one?
Honey garlic, yeah.
Honey garlic, that was good, but I really liked the 4th one. I liked that, mango base, like, it
Yeah,
was
that's
really
awful.
tasty. I will say the 5th sauce, which was the one that I liked was afalto?
Ataulfo. Hmm.
Ataulfo, gosh, girl, my tongue is like tongue-tied, but it's drooling at the it's salivating just
Yes.
remembering the flavor. So,
Yes.
you guys, it is not so impossible that you can't enjoy it. It's actually very flavorful forward. So, first and foremost, what Michael Corvesi did was actually say, "Hey, how about have a hot sauce actually taste good?" And sure, there's gonna be a little kicker, but it tastes good, right? And as a girl, I'm Thai. Like, we cried at every meal. So, to me, the
Yes.
fish sauce reminded me of a lot of Thai meals growing up. It is a creeper. So
Oh my
be careful for
God.
those that are like, oh, it's nothing.
Yeah,
Probably the
no.
first like 2 seconds of it, it does taste beyond divine. And then there's this slow creeper. And then all of a sudden you start feeling in the back of your throat a little tickle. So you guys, it's
Yes.
good. It's fun. It's a great opportunity. If for those are going into football season, and we are going to do a
Mhm.
fantasy football with the Hounds community. I know Chris Malazewski in there
Whoop,
with
whoop.
Walking Tall is spearheading that movement. But walk tall, everyone. But yeah, if you want people to leave your party, I would recommend go ahead and just throw up that sauce for a little bit and be like, okay, party's over.
I know, I know. I'm so excited. I had a blast, y'all. Just getting everybody together and experiencing all this. It was just amazing. My favorite one, I must say, was a barbecue. So I was like torn between the barbecue because obviously I'm Texan, I'm Southern, so we love our barbecue here, and then the honey garlic. Like those two were like, oh my gosh! Like if I could just mix both of those.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Mm.
to mix them
Oh,
too. Yeah,
okay. Well,
yeah.
so we had a lot of spice, but you know what? We had to up it up a notch and say, no, we need more spice. So guess what I have for you today? I have three spicy Latinas who are coming to this panel and just breaking it down for us and telling us all about what they're doing for the Latino community. So please help me welcome, without further ado, our lovely tres doctoras who are doing fantastic stuff. So,
Wait.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos
Buenos
dias,
días.
doctora. So, thank you so much for taking time this Saturday morning to be here with us and to deliver the messages and just to have a conversation about what it means to be empowering Latino leaders worldwide. You guys are so amazing and stellar. So, I'm going to go ahead and, just introduce. I would like to have you introduce yourselves one at a time and, just tell the world the amazing stuff that you're doing. So, let's start with Dr. Patty Delgado.
Oh my God. Thank you, Raquel. It was such a pleasure to meet with you before, and what a pleasure to be here with you this Saturday morning. My name is Dr. Patty Delgado. I am originally from El Paso, Texas, and a little, Texan, Tejana, Chicana, as well as you, Raquel. And a little fun fact about El Paso that a lot of people don't know is El Paso is the only city in the U.S. that borders two towns, two countries. No, I'm sorry, two states, two countries, all at the same time. And so there's no other city
Wow.
in the US that does that. So I am one of the co-founders of El Puente Institute and super excited to be here. I'm going to throw it over to my comadre Patricia, my tocaya, and she can introduce herself as well.
Yes.
I know. Had we known we were going to end up working together, we would have changed our names. So here
I
you
know,
go,
right?
Patty, Patricia. But buenos dias. I'm joining you from Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, where it is also hot. Surprisingly
Yes.
enough, just a
Wow.
little bit about myself. I'm originally from Bogota, Colombia. So shout out to Colombians if you're out there. And just excited to be here this morning with mis comadres, my colleagues, and just have an opportunity to discuss the way that we view the world through our Latinidad. So Alejandra.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
Amazing.
So happy to be here. Yes, my name is Alejandra Mielke. I am originally from Monterrey, Mexico, but one day I had the great idea of moving to Austin, Texas to work on a PhD. And I thought, yeah, sure, why not? And they took me. They said yes to me. So, which I'm still surprised at this point sometimes. So, I've been in Austin, Texas for 23 years. So, I work at UT for a long time, and then as a consultant. So, I mean, I'm here like now. This is my home, Austin, right? But I do go to Mexico a lot, very often. So I'm happy to be here, happy to be talking about all this. It's always a great opportunity. Thank you for having us, Rocky.
Oh no, my goodness. Well, thank you for being here and agreeing to come and do the show. So one of the main things that I like to say, I won't hold the fact that
Yeah.
you went to UT or you're at UT, since I'm an Aggie myself, I won't hold
Oh,
it against you.
yes. Well, my husband is an Aggie and one of those hardcore Aggies. Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yes, 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 yes.
so you
Oh,
know
no,
what
no,
that
no, no. I
means.
went to the University of Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner. So there.
Oh my God.
No, no,
So
no.
we're gonna have the college, we're gonna have the college version of this, once college football season starts, because I'm like, oh no, we're gonna have watch parties and root for our teams. But it's amazing. But that speaks to just how fantastic, right? The richness of our diverse backgrounds, everything that we
Mhm.
bring to the table. And I know you individually have had stellar careers, but man, when y'all came together, it was just mind blowing, amazing. So please let me know, and I'll start with Dr. Patty Delgado again. We'll just make the circle like that. How did y'all come together? Coming from wherever you were doing, and then y'all met your comadres. Like, how did it work out?
Mhm. Yeah, it was just so incredible to know these two and to get to know these two amazing women. I love your daughter. I remember we met her. So I started my dissertation on studying Latino Hispanic millennials. And then as I was doing that, of course, in anybody that's been in a PhD program, you're researching, you're looking. And I've uncovered these two wonderful women and their own research, and started just reaching out to both of them. And instantly when I met Dr. Alejandra and Dr. Patricia, there was a connection. I always feel like, kind of like in my gut, I was like, these women are women I want to do something with. I didn't know what I wasn't sure, but I knew that they had the same values as me, the same drive. They were both chingonas. And so I knew that together it would be a massive powerhouse. So as I spoke with each of them individually, brought up the idea, like, there's a lot of work in our community that needs to be done. And we all feel super passionate about it. And you'll see it as we all speak, how amazing our Latino community is, how diverse it is, how misunderstood it is, and just how hard it is for us to live and manage in these spaces that weren't created for us, right? And also how to continue appreciating both our dual identities, being American, being Latinos. And so I knew that there was a bigger vision and journey for all three of us to do together. So I asked them, and we all agreed that El Puente Institute needed to be born. And so El Puente is a division of my national research firm called the Bridgify Group. And it's all about bridging. Bridgify is about bridging research and practice, but El Puente is El Puente, the bridge, bridging our identities of Latinos and leadership. Because we unfortunately, our numbers in leadership positions, Rocky, I'm sure you've known, and others that are listening, is very low in CEO positions, corporate position, board positions. So I knew that there had to be a bridge on how we can connect both of these worlds together and we can continue advancing our community. And so El Puente was born, and now we are all three of us
Here we are.
passionate, spicy, as you say. We're ready to really start teaching about our Latinidad at a different level. And we'll go into that a lot more later on, but it's just a different way of looking at leadership development. And so we are in the business of making leaders, and we're in the business of helping Latino communities really thrive. We need to continue raising our voices.
Right.
It's time. There's a
Yes.
rumble, Raquel. I say
Yes.
there's a rumble right now.
Yes. And you know what? I know.
We're feeling a sense of needing to hear our voices, to be louder,
Yes.
pero nos dicen calladita más bonita.
Mhm.
And so there's something going on, and we want to lead this rumble,
Absolutely.
especially in Latina.
And I'm so glad, like I said, man, when I had that other show with the Adrianas, and they were
Uh-huh.
just powerhouses, and then you and I connected, and I was like, oh my God, like all these wonderful, fantastic Latinas are coming out of the woods, and I'm like, where have you guys been? let's
Exactly.
let's
Yeah.
take LinkedIn by storm. And you brought up such an amazing point that this is something that I've had to deal with all my life. It's just that having
Mhm.
that dual, that bicultural, and how to navigate those situations where you don't feel ni de aquí ni de allá, meaning basically it's like you
Mhm.
don't feel
Mhm.
like sometimes I don't feel Salvadoran enough because they tell me, oh, la gringa, like you become too Americanized, like your ways have
Right.
changed, like you don't identify. I'm like, I do identify like with my roots, but also not being American enough. So it's just like
Enough.
vacillating and having that dance, that delicate dance between both, and how to actually keep true to yourself. So can you talk a little bit about that, Dr. Patricia Conde? Because I know this is a lot of what we Latinos go through this.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So thank you. So I'm going to back a little bit. One of the things I was thinking about this morning, why it was important for us to be here as Latinas y Poderosas y Juntas, is October 5th. And you're like, hey, why October 5th? Well, October 5th is Latina Equal Pay Day. So we look at the who gets paid in this country and when do we have an equal pay day. We're the last. The Latinas are the last. October 5th. And I know people are
Wow.
going to say, oh, well, it's tied to educational factors, career choices, but it sort of starts with us and our community, and it can start in empowering the other Latinas. And some of that empowerment is around, you're right, navigating our culture, navigating who we are, and navigating the messages that we grew up with. Like Patty was saying, calladita es más bonita, mija ten fe, which means, have faith, put your head down and work hard.
Mhm.
So we internalize a lot of that as Latinas, as being, doing servitude, being just keeping quiet and doing the right thing, which is all great. But in the other hand, it's actually keeping us from speaking up and empowering ourselves. And, moving forward. I'm probably la doña, the oldest one. I know for a fact that I am the oldest one on the screen. So, call me la doña, no la vieja. The vieja means old lady.
No la vieja, no la vieja.
Okay, so la doña. And I just, when I see, I get energized by the new generation of Latinas
Mhm.
Yes.
that have embrismo. That means they have captured the change in the narrative. They're flipping it around and say, I have a seat at the table. Now, look at you. You have this amazing audience. You got people from all over the
Community.
world
Yeah.
joining you every weekend. And that's what we need. We need more sabor, more sazon, flavored, and add to that the, Latina identity. And what we try to do, we're all, academics researching. There are methods and there are ways in which we can do this
Ways.
thoughtfully. And that's what we try to do, and try to get that theories that we know are out there and apply them so that we can learn more of ourselves and empower ourselves. So that's a lot of the work we do with our Puente Institute, where, as Alejandra would say, we're in the business of developing Latino leaders. And so entrepreneurs in a way, because, 3 Latinas with, we don't have sponsors yet, but if anybody wants to sponsor us, come on.
We're here.
We'll take them.
We're ready.
Well,
Yeah.
and
So,
yeah.
yeah.
And actually, I mean, about Latina Pay Day, actually, we are doing better this year, October 5th, because last year was December 7th.
Yeah.
Last year, Latina,
When they
yes,
had it, yeah.
that face, Rocky, yeah, it was quite a bad situation. So at least we're doing a tiny bit better, but there's still a lot that we can do, right? So
Right,
that's
right.
exactly,
No, and
yeah.
I'm glad that Dr. Patricia Conde, she brought this up, that empirismo, right? We talk
Mhm.
so much about machismo. We focus sometimes on
Mhm.
the negativity of machismo, and I may say that part of my story is stemming from the reason why I'm here doing what I'm doing today and speaking up for my Latina comadres is because I come from an experience that had to deal with a lot of machismo, and I was like, you know what? No more.
No.
Like I understand there's gender roles. I understand societal roles that need to be played, as a woman and everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to clip my wings and put my dreams and aspirations in the back burner to be overshadowed by somebody else who doesn't have, dreams and aspirations. So I had to suppress so much of myself as a Latina because I was
Mhm.
fitting the mold of
Mhm.
being Latina. Because that's why, like,
Oh yeah,
calladita te ves más bonita. And I'm
más
like, you know
bonita.
what? Screw that. No more. So I unchained and I unleashed myself. And I said, you know what? No, I have the right to fight for my dreams. I have the right to be
Yeah.
who I want to be and become the better version of myself each and every day. So how am I going to do that? By sharing my story, by opening my mouth and being visible and saying, I'm here. Let's unite. Let's do something together to raise our Latina sisters up. Because I'm telling you,
Yes.
a lot of Latinas, lo quedamos callado. We don't say anything
Oh,
because that's what
yes.
is expected. What would you say
Yeah.
about that, Dr. Alejandra?
Yes, of course. I mean, I always think about, in my case, I come from a very conservative family, right? Very traditional Mexican family, to the point that I had to leave the country to move out of my house, right? I mean, it got to that point, and I was older. I won't say how old I was, right? But I knew that in the only way that I was going to leave my parents' house was either I was going to get married or I needed to kind of go out and study somewhere. So think about that, right? Think about those messages that you get, right? That if my father said, that would have to be done, the father figure, the machismo. So when we have all these messages and we live like that, of course it's going to be very hard for us to do something that is different, right? So as a coach, that's what I always say, is we have to take those steps, right? I remember the first time when I was beginning to do all my posting in LinkedIn. I mean, I love LinkedIn. And the first time I had to put a photo of myself there, I was like, no, oh my God, I can't. Because you have all these things, right? You have to be modest. You have to be humble. You have to be, like you say, la calladita. But
Don't show off. You can't show off too much.
exactly. But I realized that, like you say, like we have to be seen, we have to be visible, we have to be present, we have to be there. So when people open the LinkedIn, it's like, okay, they're seeing more and more and more of these Latina faces that are doing things, that we have an amazing talent. When I was coaching more Latinas and I would get all these amazing women, I always said, am I only getting the good ones? Is there something, I mean, what? Until I realized, no, it's the fact that we have really unmatched potential and talent in our community. And we have to learn that we have to take those extra risks, even though they might feel uncomfortable, but really show up, right? Be very visible, because that's the way that we can really start changing some things around us, right?
Yes. And
Yeah.
you know, and I'm glad that you brought that up, especially on LinkedIn, right? That
Mhm.
we're hesitant because we're breaking
Mhm.
terrain that is uncharted, at least for us culturally speaking, because
Of course,
I don't know if
yeah.
it was the same situation, but I'm a first generation. I was the first one to go to college for the first time, you know, on a full ride. And they were like, oh my gosh, I'm the first one in my family to get a PhD. I mean, not a PhD, an MPH. So it's just like a master's. I know all three of y'all have a doctorate degree. So that is like it's really in our Latinas, it's the percentage is like, I don't know, it's
Oh
like
God,
2%,
yeah. It's
right?
nothing.
And so that was a change. I know that I always keep saying that then I will change the narrative for my generation. That generational curse will stop with me, because I want my daughters, I have 2 daughters, to be able to see that there are other things out there for us, and
Other ways. Yeah.
that we do deserve all these things. Because again, sometimes, you know, what they tell us is, hey, esas cosas no son para ustedes, like you belong, you know, in the kitchen or something. I'm like, no, I don't.
And I feel
Yeah.
it. I mean, even though, if I can add to that, I mean, I'm not a first generation. My father went to college. I mean, so he was the one who went. He was first generation in Mexico, but still, I notice a difference. And I love my family, I love my parents, and I hope, I mean, they're not listening to this, but you can feel the difference, the way that my brothers are treated and the way that I'm treated. I mean, and they're the nicest people, and I love them, and they support me. And I mean, I could not be here without them. But I feel the difference, right, when they know everything about my brother's business, and they hardly ask about me. I mean, we are far away, whatever, but of course there is a difference. And of course, but I think once we start talking openly about this, like we're doing now, and what we do with El Puente, having these conversations, and once we have that awareness, kind of like, okay, that is why, because I have all this background, right?
Mhm.
So that means that I am not defective. No, you're not defective. You just have all this background that you have to be aware and then push aside, right? Move to the
Yes.
side and just keep on going, because we have a role and a responsibility to change the conversation. That's why we are here. That's why people have access to LinkedIn. That's why, I mean, all these things, like there's a reason that you have all this access is to do something, right?
And we
can I
knew
say
that.
something?
Sorry. Go ahead. Patricia.
One of the things I kind of wanted to talk about is when we got together, so we had a really good conversation about putting aside our envidia, because that's also like envidia, it's envy, but it's this, sadly, it's a cultural script. It's sadly part of our Latina identity that somehow we've been taught to tear each other down as women, right? And not to be like, talk like, yes, que se cree de que, you know, what do you think you are? And kind of navigating those dynamics and actually being conscious about what that means and supporting each other. And when we work with others outside of the Puente Institute, and we've had an opportunity in the last year and a half to meet dynamic Latinas all over the country in the United States. And Patty is really thoughtful about us when we're talking to them, like if we partnered to bring this up, like not to be afraid to say, hey, you know, let's be there for each other. Let's be happy. We might be competing for the same opportunity to speak or present somewhere. And when someone else gets that opportunity as another Latina, we're like, bravo, siquiera, we're there for you. And just really being conscious about not just putting the envidia aside and speaking it out and talking it out, because we just sometimes just don't do that as a Latinas. And it's sad because we're often the first ones. I'm reading in the chat where everybody's cheering. We're many often, I've always been the only one in classrooms and the only one in meeting rooms. And so if I go there and I feel that I have the power of all the other Latinas, me siento más poderosa. I feel more empowered. And we need to continue to communicate that to other Latinas and say, we're here with you. When you show up in that room and you're scared because you're the first one there, others are going to be there for you.
Yeah. And we noticed in the research, and thank you for bringing that up, Patricia. We noticed that in the research and all the research that we've all done, we have about 30,000 hours of research collectively that us and the team have done around these, what we call cultural drivers, cultural scripts. They're different narratives that we've heard growing up and are shaped who we are as individuals and then are shaping our leadership style. And the script of envidia, which has not been researched, is one that we see all the time, unfortunately. And so, yes, we're very intentional when we meet other Latinas to say, I'm here to celebrate you, because when you do good, we're doing good. When you advance, we advance. And so we make that very clear up front, because we're not going to advance as Latinas and as a community of Latinas if we really aren't honest and say, you know, envidia exists. I blame it on telenovelas. That's what I always say. Thank you to the telenovelas that have showed us that, right? That we wait, you know, just to watch.
Oh, yeah.
But we've internalized this dynamic between each other. And I've seen it a lot in Latina communities. I don't see it in the African-American woman community a lot, you know, so we need to break that script for sure if we're going to move forward.
And I'm so glad that you brought that. No, envidia is one of the cultural drivers. Can you tell the audience a little bit more about what cultural drivers are? Because for me, that was like a first, you know, once I started doing my research into that, I was just like, whoa, this is like real. Like this is, even though it's not just research, but this is real. Like we experienced that. We've gone through that. So tell the audience a little bit more about that and how it's intertwined with the research that you're doing at El Puente Institute.
So I'll give my definition. I think all of us probably have a different definition. Each of us can probably go and give our own short definition. Cultural drivers, from my definition, are ancestral narratives that we've been hearing as we've grown up, generation to generation, that have kept us safe from harm, safe from getting hurt. They're colonialized ways of behaving that, unfortunately, it just continues perpetuating from one generation to the other. They're beautiful. They may make our culture who we are. They make us Latino. They make our Latinidad. But we have to ask ourselves, are they serving us today at this time in the experience or in the situation we're at? I don't know. That's my definition. I would love this is a wonderful thing about all three of us. We all think so differently, but yet so united.
Yeah.
So I'll let the other two theirs too, because we all interpret it differently.
Well, the way that I understand cultural drivers, I mean, very similar to what Patty, it's just these cultural narratives, these ways of being, of doing, of reacting, of believing that are characteristic of a certain culture, right? So we, of course, in El Puente, we talk about the cultural drivers or cultural scripts for the Latino community, right? But of course, every culture has their own specific cultural scripts, right? So the Anglo culture has their own culture scripts, right? So that's kind of what makes us be part and survive and thrive in a group. They're accepted, they're familiar, right? They're shared, they're ingrained, very, very deeply ingrained. So it's what makes us part of who we are. I mean, we have other kind of mental programming, also kind of more universal needs, and also some personality, individual personality things, right? But that is what makes each culture their own culture, right? So, and the thing is that they're very ingrained, and that every culture has one. So when we think about our own as Latinos, we have to always keep in mind that, hey, the other group has their own cultural drivers. Sometimes many workspaces, we have these clashes, right? This clash of the two cultural drivers, right? They're like, oh, but I'm seeing life this way, and I get to this other place, and oh, they're not seeing life that way. So there's always this tension that we sometimes experience, right?
Yeah, I would say I'll bring it down to our Latinidad. So when you think about what makes us Latinos, right, it's not the fact that we speak English, Spanish or not, but third generation, the Spanish has really been lost. We come from 27 different countries if we're identifying geographically as Latinos. Some are first generation, second generation, third generation. Some of us crossed the border, others the border crossed us. So there's lots of ways in which we could say, well, what makes us Latinos? And then let's not start arguing about who has the best arepas or pupusas or whatever it is within our community. But what makes you a Latino, and I'm a sociologist by training, is what do you have your shared common values, right? And that's what a cultural script is, a shared common value that you have. And what we have seen in the research and what we're continuing to research is that we pass this on generation to generation. So we'll start with like familismo. And most people will probably think, that's obvious. The Latinos are very familiarly oriented or family oriented. But what we're researching is how do we bring this familismo, this sense of we want to create family wherever we are, that we want to have our family be important to us. How do we bring that to our leadership practices, right? And so we're taking, we specifically naming them and taming them or claiming them, depending where you are with your how you feel that these cultural drivers are, and seeing how they shape us as individuals. So that's for me that specifically as a Latina, as I was researching, what makes me as a Latina show up places and spaces and behave differently or bring certain values with me. And I was able to really attach those to my culture and the way that I see and feel about myself. So that's where I really leaned into the cultural scripts, and we rename it cultural drivers, because this is something that you can really lean into, or you can say, oh, wait a minute, momentico, this might be too much. Maybe I'm being too familiar at work, and maybe I need to change the way that I'm behaving.
And I'll throw another real thing in here, since we're real on this show, is that a lot of people say there's no, I don't see color, or I don't see, I don't, I don't show up with my Latinidad at all. And unfortunately, there is research and proof that from the age of 0 to 7, you are shaped with the experiences and the people that are around you. And so sometimes I know we try to assimilate in a way and say, well, no, I don't really see myself as Latino or however, whatever culture, but it is part of the identity. And we are seeing in the research that it does show up very unconsciously in what we do. So what we're trying to do at the Institute is bring awareness that you may or may not fully represent, say you're a full Latino or I'm a full African-American, whatever it is. However, know that in one point or in another in your life and your leadership style, it will show up. So why not be better aware of it so that when it does show up, you can manage it better? And that's all we're saying. It's about awareness. It really is about this awareness. And so we're taking this info, we're taking the surface level information a step deeper, and we're having these kind of conversations. So for those of you that want to have these kind of conversations about your cultural identity, then we are the women and the chingonas for you all.
There you go.
That's the way, that's what we're doing in our institute.
I love that. I really love that. And y'all can just take over the show, man, because I'm telling you, it's amazing how much intertwined. Like we are just so much alike because we are striving to send the same message out to the world, right? And I love what El Puente Institute is doing in the research that it's like they're currently still researching so many different things that they
Oh,
haven't published yet.
yeah.
Mind you, guys, these individual women here publish. They publish, and they've been so many different publications that you have. But you know what? One of the things that I found as I started talking about this over the last few years, about the Latinidad and just all these feelings that I had bottled up for so long that I thought something was wrong with me and because I just didn't fit, right? Uh, it crosses boundaries to other cultures. It's some other cultures as well. Like I have Asian friends who like, oh yeah, I feel the same way. I have Middle Eastern friends who like, yeah, I feel the same way. I grew up with those that narrative in here, or, the words that were beaten down or the expectations that were kind of like shoved down my throat. And so individuals, even though we're talking about Latinos, but some of these cultural drivers you can see them in other cultures as well, other cultural groups. So this information is very valuable, not only for us as Latinas, but also to globally. Like I honestly, that's why I said I commend you for what you're doing. And we have a question. Oh, okay. Chris Malazewski. Did I say that right, Chris? Yay. I'd love to hear your thoughts on mental health in our culture. So have a stab at it, whoever would like to start that off.
I want to just
Alejandra,
jump
right?
to just to finish what you were talking about around the similarities in cultures. Yes, there are similarities, and we've also seen it in the research. Because our lived experience is in the Latino lens, we hold value in that lived experience, and we honor lived experience of any individual because everyone has their own lived experience. So unfortunately, we would love to do additional research on how the intersection of culture and different cultures work when it comes to these cultural drivers. And so if anybody's out there that wants to do that kind of research, definitely we'd love to partner on that. But what the Institute is we're focusing on the Latino, but you're right, Raki, there's a lot of similarities because colonialism and the sense of oppression all evolved in different ways from communities to get us to where we are today. So definitely a larger topic that we're always happy to definitely continue having. And in reference to the question, there's always a taboo. It's mental health, I think, also shares the same taboo amongst a lot of other cultures. In the Latino culture, there's te vas a oír loca, porque vas a ir al doctor, why you're going to sound crazy, why do you go to psychiatrist, why do you do counseling? It's breaking those narratives that we've heard over the years, and also educating our Latino community about the importance of mental health. This is something near and dear to me. I do suffer from depression and have for a long time. And if it wasn't for the education that I gave myself on how to manage this mental health concern and make it part of me, because it's part of who I am, then I would have never been able to get the help and the assistance and the education that I needed. So it's really about the community, our community being open to this is a real thing. And we've seen many research studies, especially on young Latinas that commit suicide because they feel they don't belong in the familia and that they're the outcast, the black sheep, that they're not following the same ways. And so unfortunately, they take their lives. And there is research showing that number is increasing.
But I can say one thing.
Yes.
Actually, cultural scripts that we're talking about have been studied in the field of psychology for a long time. And one of the things that, so I work at a university, I actually teach. One of the things that we're talking about is how do we train psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists to be culturally competent? And you can apply the same cultural scripts to healthcare, because there's an importance of creating personalismo between the practitioner, the psychiatrist, and the patient, because you want to say, I want to know something about you, do something about me, because we're going to feel more comfortable to have confianza or trust to share what's going on with me. You have to take into account the huge influence that family has in generational trauma that we pass on as Latinos. And a lot of that is around that immigration survival. Many of us here in the United States would have to go through the immigration survival and immigration guilt that you may have, or feel that's tied to your parents or how they got here. Yo dejé todo por ti, I left everything for you, and those messages that we get. So that's understanding the familial concept that you have around that. We have a concept, it's called espiritualismo. and we're very much like, si mi Dios quiere,
And
living into a
religious,
higher being.
yeah.
Religious.
Yes,
And
yes.
so that sort of weaves
Religious.
into mental health a lot with the Latino
Of course,
community.
yeah.
So there is some research and really, so if you're looking for someone for mental health, make sure that you're looking for someone that's culturally competent to provide you as a Latino, as a Latina, with this care that is based on that cultural competency of understanding our culture. So it kind of weaves into many other areas besides leadership, but and it is a taboo in our society. But I do know that the younger generation is being more forward and asking about mental health and feeling more empowered to ask for the mental health and normalizing it with our community.
And
Yes,
religious has to do a lot to do with that, right? I mean, we religion plays a big role, right? Again, we are colonized countries, right? So I know people who would go to church or a mass 2 times a day before going to see a psychologist, right? So
right.
I mean, they will. I mean, it's beyond that, but I do believe things are changing, and hopefully
I
they
do
will
too.
change more. But especially with the younger generations. But yeah, we have a hard time really leaving that religion behind.
Yeah, and I'm so glad
Some people
that,
can be, yeah.
yeah, and that's another thing that I'm glad that you brought the whole religion thing with me. So I grew up in a household back in El Salvador. Half my family was Catholic, the other half was Jehovah's Witness. So you just must imagine my confusion, right? So when I was old enough to, when I came to this country, and I was just like, I don't want to know anything about religion because you guys are just creating this havoc in my head, and I just don't know what's right from wrong or left from right. So I literally spent all my young adulthood not worrying about religion because I just felt like that was going to further get me into all the culture things. So I digressed, and therefore that made me the black sheep. And I know Dr. Patty and I
Yes,
have had this conversation. I was like, yeah, so something must be wrong with me. So it goes back to, was there really something wrong with me, or I was just fighting for my right to be me, period.
Right.
So, and at the end of the day, we take that mentality into leadership, and you're like, man, something is wrong with me. The imposter syndrome kicks in. This is not for me. No me merezco esto. Eso es para alguien más. Like all of that, you grow up and internalize all that, and it really messes you up.
yeah,
like I know it did me.
Big time. And that's what I say. One of the things that I want people to understand is that we're not defective. It's not that we did not learn, because when you feel that thing that you said, I don't fit, right? This is not like the way I know. I mean, so when you feel that tension and we're like, what's wrong? And we understand the differences, one of the automatic response is like, well, I'm defective. I'm not capable enough. I cannot do this. But it's like it seems like if you don't have that understanding of the other way, the US Anglo mainstream way, does that mean that you do not have the capacity or the potential or the intelligence? No, right? There's no correlation with those two things. But sometimes we make it that if I do not know these other ways, if I cannot fit in this other context, then that means that there's something wrong with me, right? And that is the worst way to understand that. I see what we're trying to do is for them to like, no, you're not defective. Just about learning. It's about understanding that you have access to these two systems of making sense of the world, right? Like you understand the American culture, I mean, to a degree, whatever. We understand the Latino culture. So we have access to these two systems to make sense of the world, right? And of course, once we develop that awareness to understand ours and what is good, right? And we have to work on the other the same. But it's that awareness of these two systems that can be so helpful.
And this is what we're doing in the Institute as we do our leadership development training, as we do our master classes, as we work with our clients individually and together, and at a corporate level, is bringing this awareness of these are the scripts. This is the script: familismo, personalismo, marianismo, machismo, simpatia, respeto. These are the scripts. This is their definition. This is what they look like from a leadership perspective. This is what they look like from a systemic perspective. In the current work environment. And so we simplify it very, in a way that people can then internalize it. I think people look at us and they're like, oh, these are 3 PhDs. Oh my God, they're doctoras. Oh, they're going to talk too over our head. No, we are very real. Like we are real. We live this teachings that we give and that we do and the curriculum that we've created ourselves, because we are also challenged with these scripts coming up, even as we're trying to advance our own leadership. So we're very practical in our delivery of our information, of our trainings. And so we unfortunately do get stereotyped as too educated.
Yeah, we do.
And a lot of people are like, oh, estas doctoras como que pass. And it's like, no, we're cool. Like we got it going on. So yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there. Just so people
So,
understand.
but, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Dr. Patty, because, then there comes the point where you're like, okay, so I'm too good. And so people are like, okay, so there's something wrong with her. But if I don't get educated enough, then something's wrong with her. So it's just like you're being predisposed to all these outcomes that you're supposed to live out already. Like for me, it's just like, oh, she's gonna barely graduate high school, not even graduate high school because she's gonna get pregnant. I'm like, no, that was not what I wanted for my life. I wanted an education. Education was definitely fundamental for me, and I did that. I can say that I did that. So nobody did that for me, and so that's something that I told my daughter, my oldest daughter. I said, education is something no one can take away from you. So please make sure you're rooted and grounded in that. I said, I'll make sure that you do, because that is a source of empowerment. I live by the creed of, educate, empower, and uplift. And I've always said this because that is what has worked for me. And that is what liberated me from that societal norm, that the predispositions that they already said, oh, I don't know what she's going to do with her life. But my parents are like, sé una muchacha de bien. And I'm like, but what is bien? What is the definition of bien, right? So, but at the end of the day, to me, it's just like, okay, as long as I'm following my heart, as long as I'm not hurting anyone, and I'm living my dreams and aspirations or working towards that and leaving a legacy behind for the others as a paved road, then I think I'm doing my thing. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Of course.
So I would quote the great Dolores Huerta. We're all here because someone was here before us, and Dolores Huerta, the Latina with the farmers. She did a lot of the work that actually the man got the credit for. But anyway, there's another day, another conversation. Okay, Marianismo, we'll talk about that later. But she always talks about educadas y preparadas for the Latinas. So then she says you can be educated, but you also have to be prepared. So there's a way that life and experiences also prepare you. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. So exactly what you're saying, Raquel, it's about being aware of both. And some of us had the privilege. I feel like I was privileged to be able to be afforded an education, first generation. But not everybody has that path, and not everybody has that privilege, or that's where their energy or time goes to. But it's about having that preparation. And a lot of us just about self-awareness, right? I've seen individuals that can do phenomenal things and never spend one day in a college setting, and that's fine. And then, and then the three of us decided that that's where our time and energy came to, fruition. But educadas y preparadas. So also lean on the preparada side, and that's the life experiences. Yeah. So Dolores Huerta, when I heard her speak and say that has resonated with me for years, because it gives me an opportunity to, as an educator, not to only view that education, no one can take it away from you, and proponent of education, but not everybody has that opportunity or that privilege.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up as well, Dr. Patricia, just because, it's one of those things that, yes, it's not for everyone. And I get it. Everybody has their own talents and they can play into it. Like, for example, I'll take my brother. He's 4 years older than me. So it's like there's a little generational thing. Upbringing is different. And I came here to this country when I was younger than him. So my mind was open to different things. The enlightenment was different. So he's still stuck in his old ways with the culture, right? Needless to say, he's an amazing entrepreneur. Like the man is like talented with business, where I'm like, I got some things to learn. But yet I flipped pages to the left, reading books and books and books and researching in school for so long, but still he beats me at that savviness. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like everybody plays to different talents. So, okay, I think we have one more question, I believe. Oh, Mr. Randy, my OG. All right. He says, moving to a different culture can be challenging. What is the biggest adjustment you feel you had to make culturally? Woo,
I'll take that one. I'll take that one because it's still very fresh in my mind. And I moved here August 4th, 2000. So you never forget the day that you leave your country. And I had already been here in Austin. I knew Austin. I was fluent in English already. And so I had certain access, right? And I had certain ways to get in the situation, the game. And I remember it was so weird. The way that interactions at work were made and created, that was the most difficult thing. I mean, I would never know working at the university is that we had these long hallways and people would walk. You never know whether they were gonna say hello. I mean, like, are they gonna say hello? No, yes, do I smile? I don't smile. I mean, it was so different. Or the way in meetings, there was a very the way that some of the assistants or students like me would question, would debate the professors, would playfully be a little bit disrespectful to them. It really would be like, oh my goodness, how can they say that? How can they? So it was a lot of learning that I had to step up. I really had to, okay, I have to speak more because these people are speaking, right? More, and they are giving
That's
opinions.
the American way of being.
American way.
Had
So
to
I
kinda
had to learn it, right? And I
navigate.
had to understand that I had to learn that to navigate. And so when my advisor asked me, Dr. Ward, asked me to call her Joe, her first name. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna call you Joe. I mean, there's absolutely no way. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, my Anglo friend here, Nays, have been calling Joe for a year or two, right? And for the longest time, I didn't even call her anything. I just said, I did not pronounce any name. I was like, how are you? What do you think about this? With no name, until I
And
did.
I think
But
that's the biggest adjustment. How do you balance the two worlds now that you're
those two? And doesn't mean that if I
Yeah.
had to learn to do the way the Americans were doing it, the Anglos, it means that I am losing who I am as a Latina, right? I mean, that I was able to be very connected to my Mexico. I go there a lot. I mean, I chose Austin, Texas to come here. I did not go to Minneapolis. I said, I'm not going to go to Michigan. I mean, so there were some things that I was able to do because I knew that Texas is close. I can drive. I mean, so there were some things that I was very consciously, and with some work and some help, some therapy help, I'm going to be very honest, I was able to be able to learn the new ways and keep very connection to this. And I was offered a postdoc after my PhD to Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I said, no. I said, I'm not going to go to Michigan. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to stay here in Texas. So here I am. But yeah, some of those are kind of one of the things that were very, that way that people interact, those interactions is kind of like, do I call you? No, yeah. Okay, that was it.
And there's millions of these stories, Rocky. I feel like these lived experiences of how to do this. What is the biggest adjustment you need to make? And so, yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say my biggest one, and we've probably kind of been in the background chatting, it's my communication style, because as a Latina, I'm talking with my hands. I will, we all did. I will interrupt you because I think the way I was brought up as a Latina, if I interrupt you and I talk, that means I'm engaged in the conversation, right?
Yes.
And then the tone of my voice, the emotion. And so many times been told I need to tone it down. You know, what we call tone policing, and present differently because the way that I express my interests or my emotions or get caught up in the moment is interpreted differently, especially as a woman of color, as a Latina. And it also happens to Black women also. And it's that so to me, that has been the part where I have to just kind of consciously almost sit on my hands when I'm in certain meetings, because when I sit on my hands, then therefore I somehow control the tone of my voice. And I've learned that. And so that's one of the areas where I think about that almost every day. And but today I'm like, oh, we're all interrupting each other. Whatever. And it just feels so freeing because then I can show up as Patricia and I can show up authentically Latina.
Authentically.
Yes. And you know what? And that's where I struggled as well. So to answer Randy's question, one of is just being too much, right? Because they're like, ay, Raquel, bájale, like, cálmate, like, you just talk everywhere. And I'm like, but this is me, yo. Like, you know, what you see is what you get in person. This is me. You know, that doesn't discredit any of my professional career or my, you know, my degrees or whatever. It's just, this is my personality. This is my essence. Do you like it? Take it. If you don't, okay, move along. Like I'm not here. You know what I'm saying? Like I've struggled with that. Where people are like, you're just too much. You're not everybody's cup of tea." And I'm like, I ain't trying to be everybody's cup of tea as long as mine is full. That's what I care about at the moment. Don't. That's not selfish. That's called self love. That's the that's the way I see it right now. So I think, and yes, I made that comment that we're all talk with our hands so I don't feel alone, because most of the time when I'm in these live streams, I have to be very composed, and I'm like, "Ven, ando con las comadres, I'll be me."
Well, yeah, we always talk with our hands.
But so, oh my gosh, Chris, amazing, Malizuski. They have this amazing, just effort movement, walking tall movement. So he's asking how you and him can work together with both movements, because I just think it speaks to mental health a lot. I'm not going to go into details of what Chris went through, but it's rooted in tragedy. But he's now doing fantastic things, paired up with more fantastic individuals here in the U.S. to make a global movement to support mental health as well. So how can Walking Tall work along with it in Puente Institute?
Yeah. We are open to collaborating with anybody. El Puente is an institute that is open not just to Latinos, but to all. So the best way to connect with us is, of course, using the QR code. Thank you, Raki, for having that. Connecting with us on LinkedIn. You can DM us. You can connect at our email is connect@thebridgifygroup.com. That is a direct email to our main company. But really, LinkedIn is a place that we're at, and this is where we're posting information and research, and so you can DM any of us on LinkedIn. Happy to connect and help out in any way. No somos envidiosas. We will celebrate all women, all Latinas. So please, also collaboration is key, and we know this, and so we're open to be able to share our research and everything else with everybody. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I love that. So Chris, there you have it. I'll make sure that, connect, we'll connect one another, just because
Definitely.
these amazing individuals these ladies are just amazing. Like I'm
Thank
speechless when I
you.
talk, and I'm just like, I'm in front of like royalty, and I just want to bow, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's so amazing. Okay. So I guess we have one more question. Do any of you have kids, and are any interracial? How do you support them? My son was known as Blasian in school. I'm Chinese, Scottish, and Indian. His dad is Black, Spanish, and French. Oh,
What
child. Okay,
beautiful.
yes.
What a beautiful mosaic.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I
It's an
yeah. Well, I married. Well, my husband, who's an Aggie, he's white, so I'm not sure if he's completely interracial. My kid is, I'm not sure, interracial, or just he has double. He has double nationality, so he has his Mexican passport and his U.S. passport. He's been to Mexico 4 times a year since he was born, right? So I'm lucky that I have that ability, that I can go. That's why we're in Austin, so he can go there, and he loves it. He is able to he's able to go, and he can go to Mexico and have dinner at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., like nothing, and then have lunch at 3 p.m. And then the next day he's here and we have lunch at noon and dinner at 6, and he doesn't even notice. He doesn't care. He's very, very bicultural. I have put a lot of work into that, like a lot of Spanish. He's fluent, a lot of trips, a lot of like, oh, there's no car seat. Okay, well, just go in the car. Oh, please.
yes.
Like, I just go in the car. It's like, where's the car seat, Mom? Just
no seatbelt.
So he loves it. He loves it. And I think, I mean, he's only 14. I think that even when he's older, his name is Santiago. He has a Spanish name. I think when he's older, he's even going to appreciate even more. I think that teenage years, I mean, he loves it, but I think that as he gets older, he's really going to appreciate the fact that he can go from one culture to the other without any kind of like, what's going on here, right? So
my daughter's 5, but my husband is Latino. But to the question, I think it's just showing your son the beauty of everything that he's made up, right? The mosaic of amazingness that he is. And with your continuous support of talking to him about all the cultures, and he learned so much about all of them. I think that's the new parenting that we need to take going forward with our children, because by 2050, 60% of this country will be multicultural. So we will be the majority for everybody that's saying, when are we're going to be the majority soon. And so I think it's about appreciating from all the layers that make us who we are. And as we as parents start speaking to that and speaking at that and making it their superpower, then I don't see any of our children going wrong of loving who they want. And then ultimately they'll make the choice of how they want to identify.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
giving them the agency and giving them the information and just really making it is a superpower. And this country is multicultural, period.
See, I
I'm
mean,
done.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, my
Dr.
Santiago is all the Generation Z completely. He's like, he's gonna be part of this.
Completely
Completely,
amazing.
completely mixed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Dr. Patricia Conde-Brooks?
I do have 3 sons, and my husband is Anglo. He's actually a Texan, but he's Anglo. I have a lot to say about this, so I probably won't. Because my
Okay.
view is a little bit different because it's around racial identity development, and there's actually a process in which we identify how we and where and how do we see ourselves, and it is a process specifically for multiracial individuals because you're always navigating 2 cultures. So it's a little bit about doing some of that work, but I would say there's some positives to it, and there's going to be some heartache to it, and I don't want to ignore that because of where your child is at and who they're with, and what the perception is of how you identified. So I would say just listen a lot
Yeah.
because each
Okay.
child feels different. Having 3 sons, each one of them has dealt with their dual identity as Latinos differently, and their paths have been differently, and so it's just a reality. So yeah, another time
That's
I'll come and talk a
interesting.
whole hour about
I
racial
know.
identity
Well-
development.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful because yes, I think we're gonna have to have part 2 for this though. It's all good.
Yes.
So to answer that, it's interesting that yeah, I know series, right? So, yeah.
Yes, total serious.
What's interesting is what you just said, right? Yes, I have 2 bicultural, biracial kids. I have 2 girls who are half Dominican and half Salvadoran. I mean, gosh, like that's quite a mix, right? And you have the Caribbean culture and you have the Central American culture, yet they were born here in the United States. So they have 3 different things to navigate, right? And to 3 different backgrounds. But the way I see it is my children, even though there's other children who are the same mix out there, they're unique in that essence, and they can pull from each of those cultural backgrounds, the richness of the history, to really just diversify their mindset as they grow up until they're young ladies. But also that really lends itself to they become more wanted, that type of mix, from cultures, from mindsets, just from seeing the world through different lenses. It's gonna be much needed moving forward in the workplace. I think they inject a different vibe, they inject a different, just knowledge. They are able to tap into so much. So I love my kids, and like I was telling them, I was like, you do not realize how beautiful you are inside and out, and the potential and the doors that will open in the future if you just know how to harness it and learn to love that. So, but I know it is not always pink and roses. I
Easy.
know that.
Yeah, no, it's not always as easy, but
Yeah.
like
But my gosh, ladies, I know we have gone so overweight time, but I think we're definitely going to have to do a part 2, or this is going to be
Definitely.
a series, especially with Hispanic Heritage Month coming across, in a few months. Like, I think we're just going to hit this out of the park. It's going to be amazing with picking just a topic every single series that we talk, or every single episode. But
Love to.
any closing thoughts, any golden parting nuggets that you would like to share, and then we'll have the audience chime in afterwards as well in the comments.
I personally want to thank you, Raki, for all that you're doing, for paving pathways for all of us to follow, and to also recreate new pathways for others. Thank you. And for the audience for being here on your Saturday morning. Please connect with us. We're very eager to continue growing as well in our own learning, and eager to continue collaborating with others. So El Puente Institute is about a bridge. It is the bridge. And so let's walk this bridge together. Thank you for having us.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yes, Dr. Alejandra?
I think my last 3 words would be take up space, and I think you're doing it very well. But just take up space, and I think that is a constant effort, but it's like take up space by sharing, by learning, by expressing, by doing. So just take up space. We need all of us to take up space. So, and thank you for having us. It's been fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Patricia
The
Conde-Brooks?
future is Latina.
Woo! Yeah, yeah. Bam, mic drop. Okay, yeah, no, I'm not literally gonna drop the mic. It's expensive.
It's expensive.
But I mean, my gosh, like thank you so much, ladies, for this. And I always go back to I love what you said, not to get back into a topic, but name it, tame it, and claim it. Like that right now, I want to learn more about that. And but from my end, guys, thank you so much for being here. It's been an honor, it's a pleasure to have such stellar Latina leaders, you know, here learning from you. And yes, please connect. I urge the audience connect with these amazing, fantastic individuals who are doing wonderful things for the world. And I'll put up their information after the show. But thank you so much. And on my end, I am just grateful to know that I am not alone. I am grateful and I walk in gratitude each and every day, knowing that in this fight, I walk in unison with sisters who understand the struggles, who understand the tribulations, but yet we're turning those trials and tribulations into something more positive, into something that is going to pave the way for a legacy of inspiration. So thank you so much, ladies.
Thank
I
you.
adore you. I respect you. I admire you. And to everyone out there, walk in kindness, walk in gratitude, and never, never forget that you matter, you are seen, and you are needed in this world. So
Take up
be
space.
visible, speak up, and take up space.
Yes.
Above all, remember to walk tall. Thank you so much, guys. And Miss Sia, producer extraordinaire, I love you. Thank you so much for everything. You can roll the outro. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us, and I hope our chat inspired you to make a new connection. Please like and subscribe, and let's build a great community in our little corner where we get serious business done by injecting fun. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, come back to Raquel's Connection Corner.